Tahmineh, good morning to you. So let's talk about this. So the 11 days, and it sounds like the university president is finally saying she wants police to help. Is it too late?
Well, first of all, President Granberg has been very outspoken against these protests from day one. However, all of these sound like just words on paper when there is actually no actions behind them. First of all, the GW police officers have been doing their best, being at the scene, protecting GW students from harassment and intimidation. I personally have been followed and harassed by a lot of these protesters. I was being recorded while I was trying to enter the law school building. And some of these protesters continue to record me as I was letting the police know that they are actually following me without any cause. And it's just very unfortunate that many of us have to go through with this as we're trying to get through our law school exams, which begs the question, why GW has to rely on the DC police officers in the first place. Second, why DC police is not enforcing the laws. And that is the reason why last week, several members of the House Oversight Committee visited the encampment, and I spoke to them, and they told many of our GW students that there will be a congressional hearing into this.
Yeah, that's right. So James Comer and Byron Donalds, is that correct? You gave them a tour of the area?
Yes, that is correct.
How did that go? What was their reaction?
Well, first of all, they were very concerned to see the number of people that were very obviously not GW students just camping outside of our classrooms. And they saw the amount of disruption. They saw the defaced statue of George Washington. And also many of them started cussing and yelling at them, and which represents what students have to put through every day. And this is not a safe environment, especially for Jewish students and their allies. Those of us that support our Jewish friends are facing all of this every day. And I am very glad that members of Congress are finally taking a stance against what is going on. This is no longer just a protest. This is a serious national security issue because we don't know who actually is funding these groups right now. They could be connected to foreign terrorist organizations. There are some traces and evidences of that. So I'm glad that our Congress is looking into this.
Okay, so I want to ask you about this because, Tahmineh, because there's a piece in the Wall Street Journal about activist groups trained students for months before campus protests. They say that left-wing groups and veteran demonstrators provided guidance and support before the rise of these pro-Palestinian encampments. Fox News Digital found a 52-page document from UPenn. It teaches them how to escalate demonstrations, barricade doors, break into buildings, create weapons. What do you think of this level of coordination and training? Is it anything that you've ever heard of before?
Cheryl, I've been on the ground and trying to speak to some of the participants and learn what is going on. And you're absolutely right. This is highly organized. The level of synchronization of these protests with logistics that are seamlessly arranged, supplies like food, medical aid, and even sleeping quarters suggests that there is a well-oiled machine behind this. They definitely got their training from some veteran left-wing activists. All of their methods are, like classical textbook activist things, and this is not just like a regular students demonstration. This is done by veterans that have been around the block for a very long time.
I mean, one of the things that I in the Journal's piece that I found just so surprising was that a lot of these this activist group, and there's a name, the National Students for Justice in Palestine. A lot of these guys are, and maybe gals, are former Black Panthers. Tahmineh. I mean, this group's been around for decades, and they said, here's how to raise money. Here's how to manage the encampment. Here's how to manage the people in your encampment to keep law and order within your encampment. Are they that organized from what you've seen within the encampment?
Yes, I have seen a lot of serious organization. There are some leaders in the GW encampment that are not actually GW students, and they are telling the members what to do. There's several times I watched them yelling at some of the members of the encampment for speaking to the media, because one of the rules is that you're not allowed to speak to the media. I know that they are organized into 3 separate groups, and one of the groups is designated to get arrested if there is any interactions with the police, and another other group is supposed to run away. So yes, these are just your old school activist methods that the groups are using. And even the rhetoric itself is very close to what the left-wing organizations chant normally. The message is not just anti-Israel, but we hear a lot of anti-American rhetoric. So I think this is a very concerning trend that is going on.
Tahmineh, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and good luck to you on campus.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we're going to take a quick break.